welcome back, folks. Here's another series on a couple of more pieces of equipment that will hopefully make your jobs a little easier and give some thought to how you're going to do things. Today we're going to talk about trenching. And here's a couple of machines here. There's obviously many sizes of trenchers to do many jobs around the home and small business. These two pretty well fit the bill. If you want to put in a gas line, you want to put an electrical line, you want to put in some weeping tile to take some water away, possibly some other irrigation lines for a sprinkler system. You could use one of these. What we have here is a 4-inch wide trencher and a 6-inch wide trencher. Okay, that's your width of your cut. Now, a couple of things that you really need to think about before you think about putting a trench in. And yes, you want to put a trench in. You want to get it to a certain depth, but look at the area that you're going to do it in first before you approach getting a machine. All right, a couple of considerations. One, wet, snow, mud is not your friend if you're going to be doing some trenching. We got to remember that when these chains are in the ground, there is a pulling force to pull the dirt out of the ground. There is also a traction point that you need on the wheels or tracks to be able to gain enough traction to pull the trencher back. You go backwards on your trenching. Now, that's one thing that you must consider, because if you're doing this in an area there maybe that has no grass and it's just dirt, don't do it after a rainstorm. Don't do it if there's a whole lot of mud around. Try and have your surface fairly graded, because obviously you don't want to be going and rocking up and down and over stones and everything. Have a lot of debris out of the way. And also look at the area that you're going to bring the trencher into. This particular unit's about 29 inches wide over the handles. A bigger unit might be 36 inches wide over the widest point over the handles. So possibly you have to take a section of fence out maybe to get it in, or you get along in between two houses, make sure there's no obstructions there, that you're going to be able to drive the machine. Both are self-powered, but you must have enough area, at least in width-wise or gate-wise, to be able to get the machine in. This particular one can be pushed as well as driven. The bigger units with tracks got to be driven. So also weight-wise, if you're thinking about picking up a trencher yourself, you're going to need a decent trailer with some straps or rope to tie it down. You got about 600 pounds here. You probably got about 1,000, 1,100 pounds in the larger trencher. So you need an adequate trailer with adequate ramps as well. Not just some flimsy ramp that maybe thing can fall off. We don't normally put these in a back of a pickup anymore. They mostly go on trailers or a roll-off deck truck to be able to put them on safely and transport them safely. So one other area you need to consider is your ground. Obviously rocks are not a good thing to be trenching through. We don't want to trench through stone driveways, especially commercial ones where you've got big 2-inch rock or anything. That's not normally a good thing to trench through. As well, if you've got a whole lot of trees around, especially large trees with large roots, surface roots that you already see, you're not going to be using the trencher. Or else you've got to hack all these roots out first to clear the area. And if you're trenching along and you're starting to get a lot of bounce in your machine and you're hitting something hard like rocks or heavy roots, sometimes it'll cut through the small roots, but once it starts bouncing, you want to lift your boom up, go over it, go back down again if you can. You can come back to that and cut it out later, and then just keep going. But if you're getting a lot of bouncing and everything, you're hitting something hard. The teeth on the trenchers come in different styles as well. This particular tooth that is on this machine is for hard ground. You got to remember some of these machines are built in areas that are sandy, some loamy soil, some farmland. That would be a different type of chain. Once you start getting them up into some of the areas where we are in gumbo clay, that in the middle of the summer is almost like concrete hitting. The machines have a hard time bouncing through this, and sometimes you have to go to a larger machine. There's no choice. It's an excavator or some other type of machine to make your trench. And this particular machine here has what we call a combination. It has some blades here for cleaning the dirt out, and you have some of the teeth that are used for the harder soil. So things in the ground have to be considered as well. I wouldn't even probably think about a trencher if you've got a whole lot of surface roots, unless you're cutting them all out or chopping them out or using a stump grinder to grind them out before you even think about a trencher. So as we get into what we're going to do, let's say we're going to do a gas line. And we got a new pool. We want a gas line out from your shed or wherever the pump is probably, or your heater for sure, back to the house. This trencher does a 4-inch wide trench up to 2 feet deep. Now usually gas lines are 20 to 24 inches deep, so this will do that job perfectly. And the way you use this machine is you would be taking it into the spot where you would be trenching. You'll drop it down into the soil, you'll start it, you'll drop down into the soil. We have another video, of course, on running the machine and everything, but you're going to be dropping down into the soil and you're going to be moving backwards. Both wheels need to be locked. There's a pin on either side that's pushed in and locked in the hub, and that gives you posi traction so that you can go in a straight line. You don't want the machine to be tipping or going side to side. You don't want to jam your boom in the ground. So usually straight lines, and if you have to do a curve, sometimes leaning on one handle, you can do a very slight curve, maybe over 50 feet or so, or go in straight lines, bring the boom up, reposition your machine, go down again, and go in straight lines again. Now, one thing I could mention is if you do get into some muddy spot, because understanding that certain spots will be dry, some will be wet, some areas might be easy to trench, other parts could be hard to trench. You can do what's called chop trenching, and there are some very small machines if that's the way you use them, but you could bring the machine in position, you could go down and do a cut, you could bring it back up, you could move the machine back a bit, go down, do a back cut, you could go back again, do a cut, and come back up. It's a lot slower, but at least you'll be productive. Because once the tires start spinning or your engine starts laboring, you're going too fast backwards. So if that's the only option you have, maybe in certain areas, that might give you a choice. Certainly you don't want to start latching things onto the machine and trying to pull it through the cuts. So that's one thing. You'll be going in a backward. Make sure you're running at full throttle, full speed. But again, if the machine starts bouncing, or you hear the engine laboring, or the tires are spinning, you're going too fast. Slow and easy wins the race. And you can keep your hand on the boom so that you can move the boom up out of the cut whenever you run into some problems. And always remember that you've got a clutch lever here that when you do hold it and you do run into some panic situation, you can let that go and everything will stop and the machine will keep running. Another thing to remember is do not trench forward. Do not try to reach underneath something and move forward. I know I've even told people not to do that. They still do it, and what happens? They roll the chain off. And there's no explanation other than you did what you were told not to do. So don't go forward, you'll roll the chain off, and then your trenching's finished. Obviously until you get the chain back on, which should be put on by the people that know what they're doing in that case. So there's a few things on the 4-inch trencher. Gas line, electrical, down to 2 feet, 4 inches wide. Now the other one here, 6 inches wide. Let's say we're putting in some weeping tile. 6-inch wide trench is what you need. Weeper is usually 4 inches wide with a sock on it, and because you get a little overburden, a little bit of cave-in, this will go down 3 feet. But in most cases with weeper, you're only going down maybe a foot, maybe 15 inches or so, maybe a little more, so you don't have burning on the top of the grass. Got to remember that if you're putting stone underneath, stone on top of your weeper, if you have it too close to the surface, put grass on top. On a real hot day, you'll see your nice lines where your weeper are that you're trying to hide underneath your grass, because your grass is burning on top of the stone. So this is ideal for doing that if you're trying to put some weeping tile in. But the common mistake again is that I want to put weeper in. Why? Because I want to get rid of the water. So what's there? Mud and water. You do not drive this through standing water. You don't drive it through the mud and try to put weeper in. You've got to wait or pump it off, get it dried out a bit, at least so it'll pull the dirt up and not be just a sloppy mess when you're trying to do it. Now, One thing I didn't mention, when you are trenching, it's kind of nice because it's better than using an excavator or a bigger machine with a bucket, because when the trencher brings the soil up on either machine, it'll pile it in a nice little pile right beside your trench. That's what the auger does. It brings it out and it piles it nicely in a pyramid right beside the trench, both machines, so that it's nice and crumbly. So when you go to fill the trench back in after, it's easy to fill it back in, tamp it down, and then you can landscape it out to give yourself a nicer surface, rather than dealing with these chunks of dirt that like you did maybe if you dug out a foundation or something. You got all these big chunks of dirt you're trying to put back on there and letting it all settle. So that is a nice advantage of using a trencher to do your especially a lot of it. Speed wise, people say, well, you know, how quick does it take me to get that done? Don't like to give an estimate on time. Time depends on a lot of things. It depends on what's in the ground, the roots, the rocks, hard ground, soft ground, muddy ground. Operator, obviously operator, it takes a learning curve. There's a lot of damage you can do on a machine if you get careless. So certainly if I was doing a couple hundred feet and I wanted to trench it in, or I was putting in a line for a pool, that's all going to be done within the day. Don't like to put short-term rentals on this kind of equipment because everybody starts to rush, and then they're overburdening the machine, and they're also rushing things that you could get some damage done, and it can be some serious damage, costly damage, or somebody gets hurt. So in that case, take your time, go up to your spot, start the machine first, go down to your cut, get your depth, just keep it there and just keep going right along and do your trench. And then when you get to the other end, you can pull her up and stop. So there are some things to consider. Hopefully these will make a couple of jobs I've mentioned a little easier, and something you can plan out then rather than maybe using a shovel. So don't forget to subscribe.